Our next reader is Phil Klay. Phil is a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps and served in Iraq's Anbar province from January 2007 to February 2008 as a public affairs officer. His writing has appeared in Granta, the New York Times, Newsweek, the Daily Beast, New York Daily News, Tin House, and the Best American Non-Required Reading 2012. He is also a 2014 National Book Foundation 5 Under 35 honoree. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Phil Klay.
Thank you. This is my first time in Miami, so good to be here. I wish I could have been here in 1969 with Harold, but I wasn't alive. The last time we all read afterwards, my wife and I couldn't stop talking about how amazing the readings were, so it's so thrilling to be up here again with all of you guys and to read for you. The book is a collection of 12 short stories, all told from different perspectives. So, one of the narrators is an infantryman, one's a chaplain, one's a foreign service officer. I'm going to read from a section told by a Marine who did mortuary affairs, the ones who prepared the bodies of the dead to be sent home, among some other things. I'll just read from the beginning. It's called Bodies. For a long time, I was angry. I didn't want to talk about Iraq, so I wouldn't tell anybody I'd been. And if people knew, if they pressed, I'd tell them lies. There was this Haji corpse, I'd say, lying in the sun. He'd been there for days. It was swollen with gases. The eyes were sockets, and we had to clean it off the streets. Then I'd look at my audience and size them up, see if they wanted me to keep going. You'd be surprised how many do. That's what I did, I'd say. I collected remains, U.S. forces mostly, but sometimes Iraqis, even insurgents. There are two ways to tell the story: funny or sad. Guys like it funny with lots of gore and a grin on your face when you get to the end. Girls like it sad with a 1,000-yard stare out to the distance as you gaze on the horrors of war they can't quite see. Either way, it's the same story. This lieutenant colonel who's visiting the government center rolls up, sees two Marines maneuvering around a body bag, and decides he'll go show what a regular guy he is and help. As I tell the story, the lieutenant colonel's a large, arrogant bear of a man with fresh-pressed camis and a short, tight mustache. He's got huge hands, I'd say. And he comes up to us and says, "Here, Marine, let me help you with that." And without waiting for us to respond or warn him off, he reaches down and grabs the body bag. Then I'd describe how he launches up as though he's doing a clean and jerk. He was strong, I'll give him that, I'd say. But the bag rips on the edge of the truck's back gate, and the skin of the Haji tears with it, a big jagged tear through the stomach. Rotting blood and fluid and organs slide out like groceries through the bottom of a wet paper bag. Human soup hits him right in the face, running down his mustache. If I'm telling the story sad, I can stop there. If I'm telling it funny, though, there's one more crucial bit, which Corporal G had done when he told the story to me for the first time, back in 2004, before either of us had collected remains or knew what we were talking about. I don't know where G heard the story. "The colonel screamed like a bitch," G had said. And then he'd made a weird, high-pitched keening noise deep in his throat like a wheezing dog. This was to show us precisely how bitches scream when covered in rotting human fluids. If you get the noise right, you get a laugh. What I liked about the story was even if it had happened, more or less, it was still total bullshit. After our deployment, there wasn't anybody, not even Corporal G, who talked about the remains that way. Some of the mortuary affairs Marines thought the spirits of the dead hung about the bodies. He'd creep them out. You could feel it, they'd say, especially when you look at the faces. But it got to be more than that. Midway through deployment, guys started swearing they could feel spirits everywhere, not just around the bodies, and not just Marine dead, Sunni dead, Shia dead, Kurd dead, Christian dead. All the dead of all Iraq, even all the dead of all Iraqi history, the Akkadian Empire and the Mongols and the American invasion. I never felt any ghosts. Leave a body in the sun, the outer layer of skin detaches from the lower and you feel it slide around in your hands. Leave a body in water, everything swells and the skin feels waxy and thick, but it's recognizably human. That's all. Except for me and Corporal G, though, everybody in mortuary affairs talked about ghosts. We never said any different. Thank you.